we do it relentlessly, right? You can sit at the desk for 15, 20 minutes to say hi to your kids, maybe check on your wife or your spouse, looking at your parent. It has had no time off. And the only time that you probably give it some rest is going to be when you sleep. But since you are talking about I'm so happy that
wonderful to see you. You know each other, right?
No. Yeah.
Ah, Pradesh, Renu, we're just beautiful, our heart, Parmar family. Good, she gets to spend the weekend with you.
Yes. This time, I mean, because she took a long time off in August, I lost my dad. So
Got it.
That's how. And now she's off to Dubai on the 25th and Jammu.
And because they're setting up properties in all of these places?
No, Jammu we are going for a wedding.
Oh, okay.
But the properties they're doing are in the forest there. Central.
When she's ready, let me know. I will come.
It's in Tadoba
Okay.
and Gothangao. And Gothangao is within the buffer area.
Like proper forest.
So they don't even call it
The gym of leadership, you mentioned, 80 principles, 80, activities, exercises. What got you to first write yet another book on leadership? I mean, there are probably a few 100,000 books on leadership. And why this, why now?
Hello. Thank you, Kumar, first of all, for inviting a dinosaur like me to ask you why another book on leadership. In fact, my hunch is there are more books on leadership than actual leaders. So why another book? I was asking this question. And the answer, what I always thought, that the whole business of leadership training has failed miserably. If I had said, people would have shown me as not senile. But when Jeffrey Pepper of Stanford, world's #1 leadership guru, wrote his book, Leadership Bullshit.
Not for me, thank you. I'm going before your session, yeah? That's it. But this was what I was thinking here in class in the Apana waiting area. So when we went upstairs, I was like, that's so weird. There's nobody
Yeah,
here.
we can be in the cafe.
That guy didn't know. Even right now, he was thinking it's on the fifth floor, but then I called him.
No, so apparently I realized at the gate, when I told him event, because there will be only one event because it's NSC.
No, there's some other
So he
conference
had like a
going on.
stack of papers, he
Yes.
said, which event? I have so many events.
Yes.
So I said, I mean, even in my wildest guess, I would have said NSC has so many events. But so basically the one each was when you had done your best. So then you don't wallow over the thing. Like you said, you got to the airport on time. You did your best. You checked in on time. See, then if the flight does not take off, it's Bhagwan. But if
What is your Lakshman Rekha? But in business, adaptability is very necessary. You can't be rigid, you can't be...
So, it's a subject we can discuss some other day, or maybe...
Yeah, once this session is done. But thank you so much. I know we've run out of time. As Mr. Mundra said, and I've known Dr. Khandelwal as well, we can spend an interest on life, I'm on stage with two very wise men, is all I can say. And thank you so much for gracing us. Thank you so much for the here. We'd be more than happy to, sign a copy if you'd like it. Thank you so much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to move on to the next interaction. And this is one we are looking forward to, an interaction with Sadhvi Bhagwati Saraswati ji. Ladies and gentlemen, just to introduce our next speaker, Sadhvi ji is a renowned spiritual leader and motivational speaker based in Rishikesh, India. She is the author of newly released #1 best-selling memoir, Hollywood to the Himalayas, a journey of healing and transformation. Originally from Los Angeles, a graduate of Stanford University and a PhD in psychology, Sadhviji has lived on the banks of the sacred Ganga River in the lap of the Himalayas for more than 25 years, engaged in spiritual service, wisdom teaching, sacred action, and deep spiritual practice. It is an honor to have her here, Saraswati ji, on stage. There's going to be an interaction with Kumar Baglodia. This is something which we will all get enriched from. Thank you.
I'm going to study, then I'm going to get a good degree, then I'll get a good job, then I'll work really hard. I'll forsake everything else so that at the end of the day, I will be happy. And at the end of that rainbow, in that pot of gold, there isn't happiness. And so I think people are recognizing and realizing that having everything and achieving everything does not, by any means whatsoever, promise us the happiness we're looking for, the peace we're looking for, the meaning in life we're looking for. And so people have started wondering, तो अगर पैसा में मिले, अगर power में मिले, तो कहाँ है? Where is that happiness? Where is that peace? कहाँ मिलेगा? And they're turning towards spirituality as finally the place that actually has those keys. And also what people are realizing, Kumarji, is that spirituality, yoga, meditation, philosophy, these are not things that require you to leave your job, leave your family, leave your life, move to a cave in the Himalayas and, you know, wear only one set of clothes and become a celibate. Little people think that's what spirituality is. But now, slowly, people are remembering and realizing that actually spirituality is something I can have in my day, in the National Stock Exchange, in corporations, in businesses. I can actually live spiritually. Because it's not so much about what I do, but it's about how I do it and how I think in my mind when I do it. And that, you know, you mentioned the Hollywood to Himalayas to the Stock Exchange. That for me is really what the core teaching is. So the Hollywood to Himalayas is of course the yatra that my life took, the actual physical yatra. It's the name of my memoir as well. But more than that, it's the mindset shift. So it's not just about the physical yatra, because wherever you are, you're not starting in Hollywood, you're not ending up in the Himalayas, and you don't need to. But the mindset shift from this Hollywood way of thinking that tragically is now pervasive everywhere. And it's a way of thinking that says you are your body, you are its size, its shape, its color, you are its bank account, you are your followers online, you are your career, you are your status. And so we suffer. We suffer because we're never happy enough, successful enough, smart enough, beautiful enough, popular enough. And that Himalayan way of thinking that I had to actually come to the Himalayas to learn, but you don't. It actually is in your genes, in your DNA, in your culture, is the teaching that reminds us what yoga gives us, what meditation gives us. The teaching that says you have a body, but you're not the body. You are spirit. You are divinity. You are consciousness. You are love. You are Sat Chit Anand. That's who you are. And that mindset shift, I think, is what people are looking for, and that's where they're coming more and more for yoga, more and more for meditation, more and more for all of these beautiful tools and beautiful techniques that our rishis and sages and saints gave us of how to live in happiness, in peace, in anchoring and grounding, in fulfillment and meaning, how to have a really successful life.
I'm so happy you said what you said about not having to leave the sort of the societal angle of our lives to follow this path. And you know, we've interacted before, and you had some very amazing things to say about the power of prayer. Somewhere, as India starts getting more and more modernized, or rather westernized, we've forgotten that path. And clearly it's only in moments of distress that we start praying, or rather begging the universe. But how should organizations and leaders look at prayer? I mean, and one aspect is we believe, sitting in, I'm not in a leadership position, but many of us who are, believe that, oh, we can make things happen. So, to that audience, what does prayer mean? What does prayer bring?
Beautiful. Prayer is actually that which brings us home. It brings us into conversation and connection with the divine. Prayer is not meant to be a bargaining. It's not meant to be, oh God, please just let my kid get into this university or pass his math exam, and I promise I'll go every Monday and I will do Abhishek. I promise that I will do this many malas. I promise. It's not a bargain. God is not available on a contract basis. Prayer is that which reminds us and reconnects us to the very truth of who we are. And so prayer should not be about a bargain. You know, my guru, Puja Swami Chidananda Saraswati Ji, he always says, कि problem यह है कि हम इष्ट के पास बैठने जा रहे हैं, लिस्ट लेके, कि हम अपनी लिस्ट लेके इष्ट के पास जाते हैं. But we are not supposed to take our list when we go to pray. It's not a shopping trip. It's not, you give me this, I will do this. I'll fast. I won't have chai coffee. I won't have sugar. I won't do this. God is not that. Prayer is that which changes first the energy within ourselves. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, neurologically. And it sends that energy out into the universe. Prayer is that which brings us back into alignment with the flow of the universe. And so, yeah, there's lots and lots of studies showing the power of prayer, the power of intention. Both if I pray for something, let it happen. But if I pray for you, and you don't even know I'm praying for you, there's been research showing it still works. If you know I'm praying for you, it's even more powerful because then your mental framework comes in alignment as well. But even if you don't know, it still works. There's lots of research on the power of thought and the power of intention, even on not people, but on plants, on flowers, on seeds germinating, on cancer cells in petri dishes that are being held by someone across the world. Literally, and I'm not talking about research being done in some yoga studio. I'm talking about research being done in places like Princeton University of the power of intention. My thought, my intention radiating out from my neurons across oceans, into countries, across the ocean, into the petri dish, in the hand of a researcher, watching the rate at which cancer cells divide, and the power of intention changing that rate of cell division. So it's not only the power upon other human beings who we're connected to, but it's so powerful that it even works on the rate that plants are growing, the rate that, as I said, seeds are germinating so much. Recently, they have started doing brain scans. You know, when we talk about brain scans, and I know Kumarji's organization does a lot of brain scans. Normally when you get your brain scanned, they put electrodes on your brain and they measure different aspects, whatever they're studying. But now, over the last several years, they've developed a new way of getting brain scans with a magnetic imaging machine that doesn't even touch the skull, that's a few inches away from the skull. Now think about that for a moment, because that is incredibly powerful. A machine is able to measure your brain waves, not touching your head. Meaning, that which is going on in your brain is powerful enough that it is emanating outside of your brain and able to be picked up by a machine scanning your brain. That's what our thoughts are. Our thoughts are brainwaves. Our thoughts are chemical and electrical patterns of behavior in the brain. Neurotransmitters being released from neurons into synapses because of the rate of an axon potential that's making it happen. But imagine that it's not only happening in your brain, but that the impact of that is actually going outside of your head. Now, we intuit this. When you say, oh, that person has good vibes, what do we mean? Right? What does that even mean? Somebody's got good vibes or bad vibes or, you know, kuch kuch hota hai. What does that even mean? How does that happen? Because we are actually emanating, transmitting, not just smell of the body, not just heat of the body, not just pheromones of the body, but actually the brain energy is also being emitted and transmitted, which means what you think creates your world. Your inner world, and also your outer world, which of course is what our rishis and sages and yogis have been telling us for thousands.
On one hand, then we don't want the mind to be full, right? On the power of the subconscious.
Yeah, beautiful. So the practice of mindfulness first is really powerful for many reasons. But the key reason why mindfulness is so powerful is it brings us into the present moment. Normally we're sitting here, but we're thinking about, oh my God, I wonder what's for dinner. The chai ke saath pakoda milega nahi milega, garam hoga nahi hoga. We're thinking about what's going to happen in the office tomorrow, what's going to happen when we go home tonight, what happened earlier today, who we had a conversation with, the past and the future, distant past, recent past, near future, distant future, but we are never right here, right now. What mindfulness does is it gives us the power and the ability to be here. Now you think, why does that matter? It matters because every single thing that we want in life is available only in the present moment. Happiness, peace, love, awakening, ecstasy, You cannot be happy yesterday or tomorrow. You cannot be in peace yesterday or tomorrow. Your only opportunity for any of this is right here, right now. So if you're not here, then you've missed it. So mindfulness is a way of training the brain to stop jumping around to the past and the future and to be right here. But because we have this monkey mind, you have to give the mind something in the here. So we give it the breath, or we give it walking. You know, you can do walking meditation, mindful walking, mindful eating, mindful drinking. Why? So that I learn while I'm picking up a glass of water, can I actually pay attention? Instead of thinking about whatever I'm thinking, can I actually notice how the muscles in my arm are contracting? How my brain is constantly assessing and reassessing the angle at which my hand is coming, so that instead of pouring the water down my sari, I actually manage to get it in my mouth. That mindfulness brings us into every moment. That's why it's so powerful. It's not about just this particular breath or this particular foot or this particular glass of water or food. It's a way of training the mind to be here now. And interestingly, that actually helps us with consciousness and subconscious, because the reason our subconscious is so important is because it's running the show most of the time. When we are not conscious, when we are not here, now, and mindful, our subconscious programming is running the show. Why does it matter? It's like saying, well, why does all of the programs on my computer or all the apps on my phone, all of the data, why does it matter? Well, of course it matters. The data, the apps, like that's how I run my life. If suddenly my phone had different apps, different data, I wouldn't know what to do. If I opened my computer and my data, my programs were not there, we wouldn't know what to do. Our subconscious is the apps and the data of how our minds work. The problem is that most of our subconsciouses were formed by the time we were about 10 years old. And it's formed with programming that we get mostly in childhood. And in a lot of cases, it's painful. In a lot of cases, it's dysfunctional. In a lot of cases, we learn things that are not in our highest and best interest. And then we wonder as we move through our lives, why do I lose my temper so much? Why do I promise every day I'm going to meditate from tomorrow and I just can't get out of bed? Why do I keep choosing romantic partners who I know are going to hurt me? Why don't I open my heart and trust? Why do I self-sabotage? These are questions that arise because of the way our subconscious runs. So working with the subconscious is the stuff that meditation, prayer, good therapy, ritual, so many different neural programs are based on getting us into the subconscious. But if you're able to stay conscious all the time, if you're actually able to be mindful in every minute and every moment, then no matter what your subconscious programming autopilot might be, it never takes over the show. So if you know that you've got programming toward anger, jealousy, resentment, negativity, yeah, work on it. But along with working on that, work on staying mindful so that you don't devolve into that autopilot. You know, it's like when the pilot falls asleep, autopilot takes over. Similarly, if my mind is not here, my subconscious takes over the show.
So beautifully put. I'm going to come to your book just for a bit. Hollywood to the Himalayas. It's really a very deep dive, and you've been very vulnerable about your own journey, about your childhood, about certain experiences. Just tell us a little bit about what really was that moment for you. Or was it just one moment? You know, we sometimes assume it is one epiphany, it is an experience, or is it more over passage of time, which really made you move to India and into the current sort of journey and current role you are in?
Yeah, it was one moment, and then it was a series of moments after that. So I came to India, just in really quick brief. I came to India at 25 with a backpack in the middle of a PhD program in pediatric neuropsychology. I had no idea I was going to stay. I was not consciously on a spiritual path. I was a scientist, I was an academic. I had graduated undergrad from Stanford and was really on a very clear academic, scientific path. I agreed to come to India because I was a very strict vegetarian and had traveled a lot throughout Europe, England, America, and even today, but especially 30 years ago, getting pakka, pure vegetarian food in places where you don't speak the language was really difficult. And what I had learned is that Indian restaurants were the only place in any city of the world I could go where do bar puchna nahi padta. If they say vegetarian, it's vegetarian. Nobody's gonna sneak machli in this or anda in that. The Indians understood vegetarianism. So, as embarrassing as it is to admit now, almost 30 years later, it actually was the food that brought me here. And we went to Rishikesh. It was the very first place that we went. And that too was just because I opened a 500-page Lonely Planet guidebook in Delhi. There was no Google at that time. It was 1996. And I said, Rishikesh. And where in Rishikesh? Green Hotel. I was an avid environmentalist. I had organized the first Earth Day program at Stanford. And so when I saw Green Hotel, mujhe laga ki ek koi eco-friendly resort hoga. I didn't realize that it just meant that they painted the walls with this pastel green color. But this is divine plan, this is grace, this is surrender, this is the power of the divine. The Green Hotel was the only hotel that was near where all of the ashrams are. Ab to khub sare hotels aa gaye, but usi samay there was only one. And I needed to be there. So we stayed at the Green Hotel. I went down to the banks of Ganga just to freshen up. I was hot, I was tired, we had come in from Delhi. So mujhe laga ki just thoda sa fresh ho jaye. And I got to the banks of Ganga, and I didn't even know Ganga was holy. I just knew it was a river. I did not know ki this is the mother goddess. I just knew ki it's a river. And I stood on the banks of Ganga, and I had this divine, amazing darshan experience of being touched by the divine. And suddenly I felt like I was in the presence of the divine. And I had never been a religious person. I wasn't even one of those people who say, oh, well, I'm spiritual but not religious. I never even thought about God. And suddenly there I was in this experience of being in the presence of God. And I knew this is where I'm meant to be. And it was so powerful, you know, because as you alluded to, in addition to having all of the privilege and opportunity and prosperity and all of that that one imagines a well-to-do life in Los Angeles having. In addition to that, I also experienced really severe trauma in my childhood and struggled a lot of challenges through my childhood, through my adolescence. And I always felt like there was something wrong with me, that kind of at the core of who I was, there was something not quite right. And in that moment, suddenly, everything was God, and I was also God. And I wasn't separate from the perfection and the divinity of the world. And it was the very first time in my entire life that I had ever even conceived of the idea that I was divine, that I was part of God. And it knocked me to the ground in tears. And I knew, okay, this is where I'm meant to be. And so that was the first experience, but then so many other experiences just kept happening over and over and over. I mean, I got my feet literally glued to the ground of the ashram, invisibly, magically, and I couldn't walk out. I heard a voice telling me, this is where you're meant to stay. I mean, and again, I was a scientist, not a mystic. Didn't hear voices. And so it was just one thing after another, making me know this is the life you're meant to live. And I can tell you, 28 years later, I just feel more and more excited about this life. I see more and more all of those who were telling me, you're crazy, what are you doing? Like, don't leave now, first get yourself established, then you want to go at those saal ke liye koi peace corps ke jaise, trip ho koi baat nahi. But I knew that if I've had this experience now, it's because I'm meant to be here now. And now I look at all of those and just feel so incredibly blessed and grateful to be having given this incredible experience and opportunity.
Thank you. That was really an amazing story. I mean, it's not a story, it's your life experience and journey. Well, all we can say, thank God for the Green Hotel and for Lonely Planet for the digest that you landed up here. Wants to leverage modern science and ancient wisdom for their life, for transforming their lives at a mental, emotional level. So we have your contacts, we'll send you material, but this will be at the ashram next year, and it's an opportunity to partake a small piece of that experience by the Ganges, by the holy river Ganga, and seeped in science and spirituality. But a huge round of applause first for Swati.
I just want to quickly add for 1 minute to what Kumarji just said about this program that we're starting in Rishikesh and Parmarth Nikatan. I know you're all business people. I know that you're all in this field, leadership, corporate, etc., etc. And a lot of times people think, what's the point? Like, why bother? Who needs it? What's in it for me? I want to just give you 2 very, very super quick pieces of information. Number 1, more than 50% of people who have a limb amputated experience what we call phantom limb pain, meaning my arm has been amputated and I am still in excruciating pain in my arm. Now, why does that statistic matter? Because ask yourself, where is the pain? We blame the arm. Arm is gone. Arm hating. Where is the pain? The pain is in the brain. And so that which we attribute in so many ways to external situations in our body, in our workplace, in our family, is actually because of that which is going on in our brain. And interestingly, the cure for phantom limb pain is this smoke and mirrors trick to trick the brain into actually thinking that the arm is back and you fix it and whatnot. It's all about the mind. The next piece to tell you, the next last, just quick statistic on this, I know you have to go, is they did an incredible study once, and they've repeated it many times, but where they took people who had never played the piano, and they showed them all one piano song. Half of them, they let practice the piano every day for 2 weeks. The other half, not allowed to practice, but they had to simply think in their mind about that song. At the end of 2 weeks, they brought them all together at the piano, and the people who had simply imagined playing the piano played that song almost as well as the people who had actually practiced it for 2 weeks. Meaning, that which takes place in your mind is just as powerful, if not more powerful, than that which is taking place around you. So you owe it to yourself, whatever your life goal may be, to get your mindset. Learn to work with that mind. So I'm very excited to have Kumarji and his whole team and company coming to run these beautiful programs that we'll do together, bring in spirituality, and look so forward to seeing you all there.
Thank you so much, Sadhvi-ji. Like I said, it was good divine intervention that kept you back in India and propelled you forward in your journey, and we have an opportunity to have you with us. Thank you once again. I had mentioned to you we are starting a social initiative to tell people to sleep early. And, as you know, there's so much evidence now that just syncing your sleep to the circadian rhythm has manifold benefits, not just for mental health, but hormonal health, balance, physical health, healing. So this is a campaign called Sleep Early and Be Hale. So Hale also, in full disclosure, is a new brand we launched today. The full form is Healthy Aging and Longevity Enhancement, where we want to marry modern science and ancient wisdom, something that both of us are going to be working on. So look forward to your support for this initiative.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Sadhvi Kondwani Saraswati and her interactions has truly opened up our minds to our appreciation. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause.
Looking camera, please. Sir, looking camera, please.
But it's sad that so many of us in India and we have not yet even touched the banks of the river Ganges. So I think after this, we should all be inspired to make a trip there. So please do not forget to get mine, and we will get it autographed by Sadhvi-ji herself. Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the interactions continue. The next topic being achieving high performance, health and happiness. And this time I'd like to introduce and welcome a very renowned Miss Shruti Sheth, who's a renowned.
Thank you, Shruti. Welcome. You've taken an equally arduous journey to reach here, right? From one end of the city, right? This is not a small task. On a weekday basis.
मन में भी तन में आज सारे science यही बता रहे हैं. Today all of the science is telling us what spirituality has been telling us for thousands of years. Sleep early, wake early, live in alignment, live anchored, grounded, and balanced life. The body will be healthy, the mind will be healthy. This is a beautiful, beautiful initiative. And I hope हम सभी लोग साथ ही साथ हाथ मिला के जल्दी सोएंगे, जल्दी उठेंगे, सुबह उठकर अपनी ध्यान, अपनी योग, अपनी प्राणायाम, ताकि केवल भारत नहीं बल्कि पूरा विश्व स्वस्थ है।
Very inspiring.
I can sign.
Side please, side. Ma'am, side.
Come on this side. Namaste. How are you?
Ma'am, side please, side please.
J for Juliet. J for Jack or Juliet. Right there in the actual Thank you.
दे रहे हैं वो नहीं।
It's subconscious program. It's like allow the mind to just
Mumbai, like my wife comes from Uttarakhand, she's from Missouri, so I go to Rishikesh at least once a year.
come and see it. What is your name?
My name is Kunal. Can I have a picture?
While you gave it all up, I think it's a little difficult to kind of get out of the material world into what.
We don't need to. We can bring it into the one round of one chest. Everyone